Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Sistas in Crime with Shot and Toy. Now, this week we're gonna kind of get into it's gonna be true crime, but it's also recent events, okay? So, you know how they always say, like, no matter what you're doing, like, you always remember where you were when 9/11 happened. I kind of feel this way about this case because this is a case that has been dragged on for 18 years. And I remember I was in high school. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the case of Miss Natalee Holloway, who went missing years ago on a senior trip to Aruba. Now, some things came out recently in the news, honey, with the long suspected killer finally admitting to it, which I knew all along he did it, but
Everybody did.
everybody knew.
Everybody did.
But this man is such a habitual liar. Like, I still feel like he's lying about certain details.
Yeah.
But everybody knows, like, everybody knew he did it though.
Yeah. After 18 years, finally he says, okay, I did it. And like, I was just like, I mean, I was in middle school at the time, I believe. Yeah, 2005, I was probably in middle school. Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing about it. It was on the news, but of course I was young. I mean, I wasn't invested in stuff about that now. But to see after 18 years later, here we are, and he finally confesses. And we're gonna get into the whole confession and everything. But it just makes me angry, and my heart goes out to her family because it just makes me so angry how this case was investigated and all of the back and forth that was really unnecessary. Her family even came out and was like, throughout the entire investigation, they did not do a good job, and I completely agree. They did not.
No, they did.
I feel like they wasted a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
let's be real.
Yep.
Let's be real. I mean, but we're gonna get there.
Yeah,
we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
Grab your tea, hold on to your seats.
Yeah.
Things about to get a little cray, okay?
Yes. Because honestly, y'all, we can't even get into every little aspect of this case because this started in 2005 and it has transpired continuously up until this year. And her family finally got some closure. But like we said, we've always known this. It's just now he finds a time. I don't know what made him come out, but here we are.
And like my sister said, if we was to tell you every single little detail, we would be here all night.
We
got stuff to do. I'm hungry, baby. We love doing this, but we have stuff to do.
Yeah. After a long work week, y'all. Yeah, we wish, but
you know what I mean. We love it, but okay.
Yeah. But y'all, so now that we're finished with the introduction about what case we're doing, so I'm going to do the background today. So Natalee Holloway, first and foremost, I want to talk about how pretty she was, but she was a really pretty girl. I see her pictures, like, of course, when we were researching the case, I mean, like this case has been going on for so long, but you would see pictures of her. I was like, she's really pretty. Well, she was really
very.
So first, to get into the background of Natalee. So Natalee was the firstborn of two kids between her mom and dad. Their names are Dave and Elizabeth. She was born in Memphis, Tennessee. So she graduated actually with honors 2005. So she was beauty and brains. Okay. She graduated from Mountain Brook High School, and apparently it was in this wealthy community in Birmingham. In the suburb. Now that's where I'm confused because it said she was born in Memphis. I remember she moved.
Yeah,
she moved. Okay, I answered my own question. Forgot about it. As you can see, we're condensing this, so we get it at or whatever. So she eventually moved to Birmingham because her mom got remarried. Her parents ended up divorcing. So yes, so she graduated from the high school in Birmingham. She was a member of the Honor Society. She was in the school dance squad. She participated in various extracurricular activities, and she was scheduled to have to go to the University of Alabama on a full scholarship, where she planned to pursue pre-med. So on Thursday, May 26th, Natalee, and 124 students went on a trip. It was like a 5-day trip to Aruba, and it was kind of like an unofficial graduation trip. So it wasn't anything planned by the school. I think everybody, when you're in high school, everybody goes on a senior trip or whatever, and it's some, say that it is like official. I think some schools do it like with the school, but this wasn't pertaining to the school. So the teenagers who went, they did have some chaperones, but the chaperones, they were just there to check in periodically with the students. But the chaperones just indicated that they weren't like following them like you would at the zoo with some kindergartens. It was nothing like they just kind of let them do their own thing. So apparently, y'all, they was having a ball out there, honey. They said they was drinking, partying, just back and forth. Like they was right, they were lit. And basically, they were staying at the Holiday Inn, and basically, the Holiday Inn said they would never be able to make a reservation there ever again. I said, see, that's how I be trying to be on vacation. I am playing. No. I can't play it.
I want y'all to tell me I can't come back. That's how much fun I be trying to say.
Imagine what you have to do for the hotel to say, like, we don't even want y'all back. Imagine the money they was probably making that weekend, but we don't want y'all back
and
at
you know
all.
what I do? I check out and say, mission accomplished. They came here to have a good time, and that's what I did.
Right. You didn't graduate it. Like, come on now. But they did, yeah. But a couple of her friends admitted, like, it was excessive. Like, they were just doing a little too much. They even were talking about Natalee, that she did do a whole lot of drinking. They took statements, of course, and they said she did do a lot of drinking, and that sometimes she wouldn't even get up to go to breakfast with them because she was just kind of, which I understand that was crucial in the case. I get it. But I kind of side eye when people release information like that, especially with her academic success, and with her going to have a full ride, like, that could have impacted her like academic career, I guess. But anyway, so several students, including Natalee, they went out like to a bar like their last night / morning in Aruba. So they went to like a bar and a nightclub where Natalee met a man named Duran, I can't pronounce his name, Duran van der Sloot. All right. And she met him, his two friends. Their names were, I have their names here, Deepak Kalpo and Satish Kalpo. They were brothers. And they met, and decided to leave together. They left in the two brothers' vehicle, and Natalee was never seen again, unfortunately. So what happened, how they found out she was missing, they all were supposed to meet and go to the airport, but no one had talked to Natalee. No one had heard from her. No one had seen her since like around 1:30 a.m. when they were out partying. But I guess they didn't think anything of it because, like they said, she would barely come for breakfast after they had been. I think they just thought she overslept, maybe. So they went to her room. They didn't see her, but they found her passport and her luggage fully packed, undisturbed. So they flew home and they informed her parents that, she never showed up and they could not find her. So immediately, when her parents found out, immediately they flew to Aruba on a private jet. Now, these people got money. They flew on a private jet straight down there. They took some friends with them to search for their daughter. Now, I understand why they flew back, and maybe they did more than what was presented in my research, but I don't think I could have left knowing one of my friends were missing. I just don't. Everybody different. And they are young, they are young too. You have to consider that. But I just don't think I would have been able to leave knowing my friend was missing. I just probably would have called their parents, my parents, said, hey, such and such is missing. I'm not leaving until we find it. But they ended up catching a flight back. So her parents, they fly to Aruba, and immediately they meet with the investigators, because I think they contacted them ahead of time. They meet with investigators like the Aruban police, and they ended up giving the police the name of Vander Sloot, that's his last name, gave the name and address because they actually got it from the hotel where Natalee was staying, because they were able to see on surveillance cameras him and I guess the friends, they were able to see him on the surveillance camera. So they ended up giving the information to the parents and say, hey, it's this man on the video, and here's his name and address. So immediately they gave it to the police, and they go question them. So basically what he says, they went to the beach, and then they came back to the hotel. She fell and hit her leg or something like that, injured herself. She refused help. She left the car, went back into the hotel. He saw her leave with a dark man with dark clothes, and that's all he saw. And I was like, immediately that kind of irritated me, because I felt like what he was kind of implying there, a dark man with dark clothes. But okay,
Black man.
Basically, yeah, that's what he was saying. Basically,
I mean, history does it time and time again, but okay.
Right. Like, and for the fact, in my head, I was just like, wow, this is universal. This is not something that goes on in America. This is universal.
The world hates Black people. But we'll continue.
I was like, wow, but okay. So they sit, like, the family and friends stay there a good amount of time trying to search for her. I think America, the U.S. and Aruban police, they all developed a search team to look for her. They were everywhere. They was on the beach. They was asking people on the island. I mean, they were back and forth. They particularly checked around the beach because allegedly, they said, well, Vandersloot, that's his last name. He told the investigators that he hadn't seen her. He had took her down to the beach to see the sharks. Now, what sharks are you going to see that time of morning? Mm-hmm. Like, that didn't make sense to me. But I guess they bought it for a little minute. I don't know, but I was just like, I wouldn't have bought that.
Right.
Like, right away in my head, I would have been like, that was like, what shark are you gonna see that late at night?
Well, I feel like, I don't think it's so much as they necessarily bought it, but they didn't have anything to fully tie him to it. They didn't have enough evidence to make it stick. So they just had to document what his story was and move on.
Right. I got you. But according to them, they dropped her off about 2 that morning, and they never saw her since. So, of course, they continue to search for her, Of course, they were pulling all the cameras, like, from the nightclub, from the hotel, and from the hotel cameras, they never saw Natalee enter the hotel at any point after she left when they went out. So, okay, there, right there, we have a problem there. So, of course, he lied, technically. I mean, they were able to prove that was a lie. So, the banks raised like $20,000 to support the aid and volunteers. I think they even made a holiday, like a whole day off for the servant workers down there in Aruba, just to help search for her. So, on June 5th, actually 2 people were arrested. One was named Nick John, and one was Abraham Jones, who were former security guards at a hotel in the vicinity of where Natalee was staying with her friends. They were already, they were detained off suspicion of murder and kidnapping. They never disclosed, like, the specific reasons why they were arrested, but based off the information that was released, basically they only arrested them because Vandersloot and the brothers that he was friends with who said, well, they did it, you know. So apparently that's the only reason why they were arrested. The two security guards were known for picking up women, and at least one of them did have a prior incident with law enforcement. So, but it was nothing that would stick, so they ended up getting released. So, sis, you want to take over from here?
Yes. So they, while they were in the middle of them, so they were still arrested, and at the same time Vandersloot and those brothers got arrested on June the 9th because the security guards were released on 13th. So they were still, on lockdown when they arrested Vandersloot and Cowpoke. And they, at that time, they really didn't have any evidence, but in Aruba, apparently you can arrest people based on serious suspicion.
Yeah.
So they did arrest him, and this begins a string of multiple arrests of Urine Vandersloot in connection with killing Natalee Holloway. Now, like we said, we're not going to go down through every single arrest because there were multiple suspects, multiple people arrested in regards to this. But in 2005, when this happened, still in the month of June, which is, I think they went in May. So this is June. They, basically, David Cruz falsely indicated on June the 11th that Natalee was dead. So that was a major point in the case as well. And that the authorities knew the location of her body. This was not the case. And I just can't imagine being a parent and hearing that and getting my hopes up only for them to be destroyed down. Like, what you doing that for? Are you antagonizing me? You doing it for clout? Like, what personal gain? Like, I don't know what the motive was. But anyway, he retracted the statement because I don't know where he got that from. They did not know where Natalee was at. But he said he was a victim himself of a misinformation campaign. Side eye. Okay, whatever. Yeah. Just sounds like some sloppy reporting to me, but we're going to move on. Yeah. So we getting down to a 6th person being arrested on June the 17th. He got released. Wasn't nothing going on with him. They detained and arrested Vandersloot's father on June the 22nd. Now, we're going to talk about Daddy real quick. Urine Vandersloot's father was an attorney down. Well, I think it was.
They were from Holland.
They were from. Okay, so he was an attorney. Okay, and apparently, Daddy had some pull because allegedly, I watched a documentary which features Natalee's biological father. And, there was a guy by the name of Gabriel who befriended one of Urine's friends. And the story allegedly, it's been told so many different ways because Urine is a master manipulator. Apparently, the daddy made this disappear. Apparently, when it happened, Urine got on the phone, called his daddy, and his daddy made this go away. Like, his daddy kind of told him what to do or got some people to, I don't want to say that that's insensitive, got people to dispose of her. And he was on the phone telling him what to do and continued this for years. Now, they continued their search and they continue arresting people, but everybody they arrested, they ended up releasing. So there was even a local gardener that came forward with some information, basically saying that a small pond that was close to Marriott Hotel Beach was partly drained between July 27th and July 30th of 2005. So the gardener claims to have seen Urine attempted to hide his face as he drove to the racket club with those brothers on the morning of May the 30th between 2:30 and 3. And that's important because he was last seen with Natalee around 2 o'clock. So this is shortly after her disappearance. So the then there was but nothing came of that. So then there was a jogger claimed to have seen some men burying a blonde-haired woman in a landfill during the afternoon of May 30th. Nothing came of that. So this continues on. And as my sister stated earlier, Natalee's mom, she remarried, and the mom and stepfather had a little coin. So initially, they offered $175,000, and additional donors offered an additional $50,000 for Natalie's safe return. So they got the bank. So I'm sure if anybody knew anything, they probably, and if she was still alive at the time, they probably would have came forward to try to collect on that reward money. So nothing happens of that. So again, this continues and continues. 2006, they had some more arrests. 2007, they had a book was written by Joran Vandersloot.
His name Uron, for real. His name Uron.
Urine.
I was calling him Joe Ron. Joe.
Well, in with names like that, the J is pronounced as a Y, so it's urine.
Oh, urine. Oh,
urine.
Urine like urine.
Exactly. My girl EIC. She said your name is Urine. Ugh. I love her. But anyway, so for this man to write a book, y'all, he wrote a book. And I was like, and now it's written in whatever language, but it's called The Case of Natalee Holloway. It was published in April of 2007. And he basically gave his perspective of the night she went missing. And then, of course, yeah.
Oh, he on his OJ.
He is. He is.
All right.
And of course, the media had a field day. So when I tell you this man is about the clout, he's about the clout. Like, you know what I mean? He did this to this family for years. And we have going into 2008. There was a Dutch reporter claimed he solved the case. Apparently he didn't solve nothing. So this continues. Now, one of the most important things I want to mention is that Urine extorted this family who has been going through agony for 5 years now. He extorted them in 2010. So he contacted Beth Twitty's legal representative and offered to reveal the location of Natalee's body and the circumstances surrounding her death if they were to pay him $250,000, and he wanted $25,000 up front as a down payment. So, of course, they notified the FBI and they arranged to go ahead and proceed with this transaction. So he received a $15,000 wire transfer on May the 10th, and he transferred it to his account in the Netherlands. So after that, there was a receipt of $10,000 cash that was videotaped by undercover investigators in Aruba. Now, the authorities stated that the information that he provided was false because the house which he said Natalee's body was located had not yet been built when she disappeared. Okay? And on June the 3rd, he was charged by the U.S. District Court of Northern Alabama with extortion and wire fraud. And I feel like the main reason he did this is by this time, Urine's daddy had died. Daddy had passed away, and Daddy was the breadwinner. Daddy was the one making bank. So they were a very affluent family as well, but he no longer had anyone to support his lavish lifestyle.
Honestly, probably this too, with him being in trouble. Who knows? He might have been left off of a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
like insurance policies off the house. Like his daddy probably did put him on everything. He probably had
no inheritance or none of that.
Right. I mean, Daddy probably knew what he did, and I mean, ain't no telling. I mean, I could see that happening. It happens every day.
Right. Exactly. So, following this, the U.S. Justice Department conducted a raid on June the 4th and confiscated items from 2 different homes in the Netherlands. So, one of the homes belonged to Jaap Amez. I'm probably butchering that name. And he was previously interviewed, Vandersloot, and claimed knowledge of his criminal activities. Go figure. And then Aruba investigators also used information that they gathered from the extortion case to launch a whole new search at the beach at Aruba. But unfortunately, no new evidence was found regarding the disappearance of Natalee Holloway. So Dave Holloway, he, and that's another thing. I mainly see her mom, Natalee's mom, Beth, in media coverage, but her daddy, her biological dad, was very much, he was on the ground looking for his baby. He was following all new leads. Like, it's a whole documentary on Peacock if y'all want to see it, called The Disappearance of Natalee Holloway, where it's her father talks about like he's meeting with different people and shows like the pain and agony that this family has gone through, but he very much was also looking for his baby girl.
Yeah.
Period. Because all I ever see is the wife.
Yeah, I can't remember. I remember reading after something monumental happened. Let me go back in my notes. After something very monumental happened, he ended up flying back out there for new evidence. I can't remember. Maybe it's later on, but he ended up like he would like fly there and like be
there several times.
Yeah, to search for his child. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just feel like in the media it's portrayed that she's flying out several times and she's doing this and she's doing that. He's doing it as well. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
I just want to give credit where credit's due. He wasn't playing that neither.
Yeah.
So okay. Fast forward to now. I also want to mind you when Urine took off to Peru with this money that he extorted from the Holloways. So this is 5 years after Natalee has disappeared. Yes. So Stephanie Flores Ramirez was a 21-year-old business student that ended up being reported missing in Lima, Peru. She was found dead 3 years later in a hotel that was registered in Vandersloot's name. How dumb can you be? Like that, I feel like that's criminology 101. You should have put her in the water like you did there. I mean, like
but
you did
but the missing factor in that, daddy's gone and not able to. Daddy's gone at that point. Yeah,
daddy guided you through the first one, but he ain't here for the second one.
And so, thank you, and great, and rightfully so. I'm glad.
Exactly, because if it had not been for this situation, this is what blew the case wide open.
Absolutely.
So he ended up being arrested, but when he was arrested, he was in Chile, and he was arrested in connection with her murder and extradited to Peru on the very next day. So the Peruvian authorities had basically said that he confessed to killing her after he had lost his temper because she looked on his laptop without his permission and found information that linked him to Natalee. So he'd been running from that case for 5 years with Natalee Holloway, and he could, like they say, loose lips sink ships. He couldn't have her knowing this information about him. So unfortunately, poor Stephanie was just a victim of circumstance. It's just wrong place, wrong time type of deal. But I remember Natalee's dad saying, I told them he's going to do it again. I told the authorities he's going to do it again. Y'all have to get this man off the streets. Until then, no young lady is safe. And sure enough, here we go. 5 years later, he's killed another woman. Yeah. So basically, the police related that he knew where Natalee's body was and offered to help the Aruban authorities find it. However, they stated that the interrogation was limited to their case in Peru and that questions about Holloway's disappearance were basically avoided. So he, again, master manipulator, avoidance, lying. He's told numerous lies throughout the years. And with his extortion plot, he said the reason he did that, I wanted to get back at Natalee's family. Her parents have been making my life tough for 5 years. Rightfully so. You killed a child. No, you're making their life tough, nigga.
Listen, when I read that, I said I would have pulled not a judge, George W. Bush, and threw a shoe at him. Because you made their lives live in hell. You killed their child. You made and then the fact you're acting like you're innocent for you to come out now and you're guilty.
Guilty as sin. Everybody been knew this whole time it was you. But for you to make that comment, I'm like, bruh.
And it pisses me off, like, his family, daddy coming and cleaning all that crap up for him, like.
Right.
Like, sir.
I understand doing anything for your children, but I'm not doing that.
Yes.
I'm not doing that.
Yes.
So, he was he pled guilty because, one of his friends basically said, well, what could he do? Like he really couldn't do anything to get out of this one. So he pled guilty and was sentenced to 28 years in prison. Now, unfortunately, the whole thing is unfortunate. Yeah. But in June of 2011, basically 6 years after Natalee's been missing, she was officially declared dead. So, her dad filed an appeal filed a petition to have his daughter declared legally dead, because they kind of knew all this time, she been missing this long. So papers were served for his ex-wife, who basically, and she announced her intention to oppose the petition. I guess she didn't want to accept that, which I understand. She's, mama bear. Women are more emotional. We handle things differently than men do. So okay, cool. But anyways, the judge signed the order officially clearing her dead. So now, do you want to get into recent events, sis? You want to take over that, or you want me to keep rolling?
No, I can do it.
Okay.
So keep in mind, like my sis said, urine. I got it right this time. Urine.
Just think of you peeing urine.
So urine is currently serving a 28-year sentence from the murder he committed in Peru. So finally, where he's serving his 28-year sentence, he ended up being extradited to Alabama for questioning. I think it was questioning at that point. I think he was taken to U.S. custody and transported to the Hoover City Jail. So on June 9th, he was arraigned in federal court in Birmingham on one count of extortion. These are for the extortion and the wire fraud. So, and it was against, of course, Beth Holloway, which was Natalee's mom. He pleaded not guilty to each charge. Dumb. Okay. So on October 18th, Euron confessed in a letter that he killed Holloway, that he killed Natalee, right? He wrote that all right, y'all. This is the part where I'm going to get into some of what he did to her. I'm going to tell the story of that night. Well, his story of that night. But how he murdered her, I'm going to try to get around it a little bit. So y'all, this is the part, if you want to click off, I totally understand, because this is a lot. So allegedly, he says in his letter that, of course, they met that night. They leave, and he takes her to the beach to see sharks, right? And he said they fell on the ground, started kissing, and he tried to fill her up a little bit. So she wasn't having it. She said, no, like kissing is fine, but no. But he kept going. Basically, he sexually assaulted her. He kept going. She was saying stop. So finally, she kicked him in his private parts. And I assume that made him angry or whatever. So he kicked her in her face. He reports that it knocked her out, and he didn't know if she was dead or alive. So he wasn't sure. So he decided to take her head and smash it against a rock that was on the beach. That's what he did to her. So he said he walked to the water where he was knee deep, and he pushed her body in the water. And he said he got up and walked away and went home. That's what he said. So for all of these years, the family has been like drug along, extorted, and for you to finally, after 18 years, come out and say, I did do it. And for the fact that you pleaded not guilty on the wire fraud charges and the extortion, sir, there's a special place in hell for you.
And he going there with gasoline draws on.
You better believe it.
Because you probably gonna meet your daddy there.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that's where he is. Yeah.
Busted right over.
Yeah, because just thinking about, I remember how I felt in high school. Just felt like I had the whole, I just felt like I had my entire life ahead of me. I felt like, I was excited about college, and just to think about those emotions, and where she could have been, in her life, what she could have accomplished and everything. And to see this man just no regard, he's just a spoiled rich kid. That's what it's giving. Yeah. It's a spoiled rich kid. And for you to string this family along just because they got money, you string them along like that. And I can't imagine. I know, I've seen, interviews and stuff and heard about, their parents' statements, and they are happy. But basically also I hate I keep jumping, but I think of things and then I gotta say they have they basically declared her legally dead, but they also have also said that they would no longer be searching for her body at all. They said that recently because if he pushed her body in the water, I don't need to finish it. So,
yeah,
just listening to her family, man, it'll break your heart because all these years, all that heartbreak, they have been, having hope and and all the people lying and all the people being arrested. But they did say, they made one point that they've always suspected that it was Euron, well, the Euron and the brothers.
mm-hmm.
I can't remember their last name. Y'all, I said it.
We said it at the beginning. Say with
But right, the brothers, right? They suspected those three all along, but the Aruban police were following them a portion during the case. They were looking at emails. I think they had tapped in their phone and everything, but like my sis said, in Aruba, they can make arrests just based off suspicion, but it has to be like a case where there's gradually increasing evidence, and they just didn't have that. Right. So they were going with the wiretaps and the emails and stuff, but they stopped all of that at the request of Natalee's family so that they could go ahead and arrest them, which was a mistake because they ended up, but I mean, I don't really call it a mistake, honestly. I said it, but they were trying to do what they had to do to get their child home. I mean, especially during that time with it's crunch time, and at that moment, they probably thought, is it a kidnapping situation? Is she somewhere are they gonna ask for ransom money? It's different perspectives, but I mean, in those situations, which I pray I never have to go through, I don't criticize nobody because you don't know what you do. If it was your child, your mom, sister, brother, you do not know.
Facts.
At all.
Facts. No criticism from me. I feel like they did what they felt was best at the time.
Yes.
So, regardless, unfortunately, regardless if they, would have made a different decision, she still was deceased.
Yes.
So that was not going to change anything. And y'all, I don't know if everybody noticed, but they've only discovered 20% of the world's oceans. That's scary. There's 80% undiscovered. So they were looking for her in the ocean and stuff like that back then, but it ain't no point in looking for her now, child.
No.
It's 18 years.
No.
Telling where she at. She's probably her body is probably not even.
Yeah.
It's probably dust or something like that. I hate to be graphic. I'm not trying to be, but I just want people to understand that they probably not finding that baby body.
Yeah.
But I feel like, as my sister said, the family, they have dealt with this. They are in a better place. They appear to be happy. They have some sense of normalcy. So they have processed this.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 18 years. I'm not glad about the situation, but I'm glad they're able to cope and try to, live out the rest of their years, because I'm sure their daughter would want that.
Yes. They finally have closure. They didn't need the answer. They already knew. It's just finally, this nut is behind bars, which he was already behind bars. But it's just crazy how events fold out. You know what I mean?
And also, I'm not sure if we mentioned, he admitted this with the understanding that he would not be charged for anything regarding Natalee Holloway. Which
I must have missed that part.
Yeah, I don't think he could be. I don't know if it's a statute of limitations thing, but they're not going to charge him with anything. But they just wanted a confession, so I think that's why he did it, because he can't be charged with anything regarding her disappearance.
That is the only reason why he did it.
Mm-hmm. But I still like I said, this man has lied time after time after time. We don't need. Is his real name Urine? You know what I mean? He's that type of liar. So I'm pretty sure he still is lying about some parts of this. I don't know what he gets out of that, but I know as long as he admitted to killing her, we know that much.
Yeah. I hate to overuse this term, but it's just a narcissist. It's just all about control. He wants some control into the end. And that is so vile and evil. Like, Urine, this message is for you. It's for you. You're going to rot in hell. I am not sure that it is any prayer you can pray for your afterlife when you leave this world. I don't think there is any prayer that you can pray that can get you out of this. You are an evil, vile person. You deserve everything that happens to you. I'm glad that you are going to rot in prison.
Right.
And this is a very diluted read for you.
Right.
And I hope that the same things you did to Natalee happens to you when you in jail.
I hope they tell you 10 ways from Sunday.
I hope they do, because you deserve every bit of that. Do I believe in forgiveness? Absolutely. I believe in all of that. But see, there's a thing though. It's still karma. Like that family has let it go. They have let it go. All right. And that's a big part of forgiveness. People forget they have let it go. But sir, it doesn't matter that they forgave you. You still have a debt to pay.
Hello. And so, you're going to pay it. You're going to
pay it. Trust
me.
Whether
it's on this side or the next or both.
Yeah, you're going to pay it. So, yeah, you might have gotten away with that sweet baby's death over here. But over there, on the other side, not so much.
Satan is awaiting.
Right. So, just enjoy. I guess this is your win because you just only got your little 28 years. Enjoy this, but trust me, you will pay. And that's how that cookie crumbles.
Right.
I'm done.
So, y'all, that's the case of our Miss Natalee Holloway. I hear all the time, like I used to it's not funny, but I used to always, like, I remember always saying, you know, I want to go to Aruba, this, that, and third. My mom always like, girl, you know, people come up missing in Aruba. She's always referring back to this case. Like, it was huge at the time. Like, and it still impacts people in 2023 because she will not go to Aruba. Mama said she ain't doing it.
Now, your mama kind of got a point because, listen, the Bermuda Triangle and stuff, like all that, no.
That's what she mentioned. That's what she mentioned. But I'm like, girl, I guess, but see, I'm an explorer. I'm an adventurer. You know what I mean?
Dora. You got your backpack and your map.
Yeah, it was so funny. And we gonna wrap up. It was so funny though when we just went to Punta Cana. It's funny, but it's not funny. So around this time is when those people died on that submarine. And I had planned an excursion to get on one of those, you know, underwater submarines. And I sent it to my sis, like, this is one of the excursions we're going to do. She said, no, we're not.
Yeah. What I tell you, no, we're not. I said, your ass trying to get me on a submersible.
My mom and daddy, my daddy was like, my family called me Juicy. If ain't nobody know, my dad was like, tell Juicy chill out. Juicy tripping.
She was trying to get me on a submersible. No.
We're gonna be down there deep sea diving, y'all. But no. Like, prayers for the Holloway family, y'all. I just had to make y'all laugh because I know this is some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
But prayers for the Holloway family. I'm glad they finally got their closure after all this time, even though it's, you know, it's been a whirlwind. It's been a ride for them. But I'm glad they you know have the answers they need.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, she's no longer here. We kind of knew that. But I really feel like she's rejoicing in heaven. So, you know, they can take solace and peace in that. But her life was definitely cut too short. She's a very bright student. And her daddy said he know for a fact she would be a great doctor right now. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Any final thoughts, boo?
That is all we have, y'all. You know, of course, there might be some developments in the case. Who knows? You know, he might even go back and recant his story. Like I said, he a narcissist. He just like to keep shit going. He just loves to be in the media. He's just an attention whore. That's what he is. Yeah. Yeah, and but hopefully it's a done deal, and the family can get some peace, move on with their lives. Not that I'm pretty sure they think about their daughter every day, but
Yeah.
just so they can move on, they've gotten their closure. That's all they need, and just move on with their lives, like I know Natalee will want them to. But
Right.
that is all for our episode, y'all. Tune in next week for an episode of Sisters in Crime with Shy and Toy. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Do not forget to send us suggestions for cases or even the current events that we do. This week was a little dry. I don't really got no tea today, but
Yeah, we don't really got no tea,
we got
but
no tea today. Okay.
it's been a little quiet in the
Yeah,
in the community.
celebrities have been on their best behavior.
Yeah, within the past week, and that we gonna okay, that's okay.
Well, let me put it this way. It's no celebrity that I'm interested in talking about.
Yeah, no one I care enough about to
right.
consider it big.
There are things happening, but I don't care to talk about those people.
Stuff they be talking about, I don't even know them people. These are like the new age celebrities, reality stars. And stuff. I don't know them.
Yeah, because that somebody will mention something. I'm like, okay, I have to go look it up. Like, who is this person?
Who
Like,
is it?
I guess I'm old. I don't care.
Call it what you want, baby. But we'll be back next week. Hopefully, it's some tea that we can drop next week because we love a little tea, honey. But we ain't got no tea this week. Just true crime, but
just true crime.
It's kind of still tea because it was a combination of true crime and current events. So we do a little tea / current events. So you know, you got a little something.
Yeah. But y'all tune in next week. Huh? What'd you say?
I said all hearts and minds clear.
And let the church say amen. Bye, y'all.
Amen.
See y'all next week.
Bye.